Hey gang, what's going on? Welcome on back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. Really do hope that. And welcome back to, of course, Chelsea News, which is the daily series here on Football Therapy, where I see what's going on being said about Chelsea Football Club. Usually a lot, mate. Give you my takes, my thoughts, my feelings and opinions on it. But as always, more importantly, I ask for yours, and in today's content, we are reflecting a little bit more on, of course, the FA Cup, when the Chelsea players that have let a lot of people themselves down, of course, they themselves probably been a bit let down by the hierarchy at large, but Simon Johnson of The Athletic's done a piece on that, and of course, we're looking for a new gaffer. Lots of people shouting loads of different names. Oh, bring Lampard. And then you got Joko, of course, who's just won the championship. Superb achievement. Not just promotion for Coventry City for the first time in a quarter of a century without parachute payments, but to win the whole ruddy thing. Just like Maresca before we brought him in. But yeah, Leicester, who were the favourites to win. Very impressive work from Lamps, but of course got like Joe Cole on TNT telling Lampard to stay away. I tend to agree. Let him cook. Go and let Lampard do his bits. And of course, the two real front runners, if, Chelsea aren't going to pull a Luis Enrique away from PSG. We fumbled that bag a long time ago. But, the Xabi Alonso might be a manager that we can't convince to come. I would be massively keen on Xabi Alonso. He would be my personal choice if I was allowed to just choose who is going to be Chelsea manager for, I say, next season. Hopefully more than one season, but you don't even know of this mob, do you? This lot running Chelsea. But the two main front runners, I think, are Andoni, Iraola and Cesc Fàbregas. Of course, Fabregas is expected to continue with Como next season, but the Como CEO has said, look, if Chelsea come for him and he wants to go, he can go. Are you listening, Cesc? Would it be the right decision? A lot of footballing people, like tactics nerds, would be like, Andoni Iraola, who is the favourite, who has said he wants the Chelsea job, and we're going to reflect on an article from Court Offside, or Give Me Sport Court Offside about that. Man United, of course, looking at him, that he probably, smart money, he would make the most sense. Premier League experience, can definitely scale up, plays exciting football and has been considered by the big clubs, and it's not plucking Rosenior from Strasbourg. It's a lot different. So strap yourselves in and let's get into it. Right then, here we go. This is what we're looking at first. From Simon Johnson of The Athletic. As you can see here, these Chelsea players have let the fans down. Winning the FA Cup final is their chance to make it up for them. As you can see, Enzo Fernandez scoring there. We are in the final. We got past dirty Leeds. Only a 1-0 win, but it was a convincing performance. A good performance. I did a match reaction. Feel free to go check that out. But we're going to get a few more deets here, and then we can speak a little bit about the manager in the second part of the content. Thanks for liking and subscribing, by the way, gang. It does help me out in the deep, dark abyss known as the YouTube algorithm. And of course, if you want to go the extra mile and walk 1,000 miles to be I can't even think of the rest of the song lyrics. Basically, Football Therapy podcast on all podcast platforms, probably most notably Spotify and Apple. If you could follow me and give me 5-star ratings, that would be very kind of you. Oh, how sweet of you. Cheers, mate. Let's read this article. Me. Shortly after the final whistle blew in Chelsea's 1-0 win FA Cup semi-final win, over Leeds United, the players went over to take a claim from their supporters. They would be wrong to think the task of making amends is done just yet. There's another Athletic piece or segment piece talking about why didn't they play for Rosenior. It's very interesting because this was night and day. If Chelsea's players really want to put things right with the fans, the club and themselves for how this season has gone, then winning the FA Cup final against Man City on May the 16th will do it. I mean, I'm despo for a FA Cup. I've been saying it for so long now. Chelsea went into the campaign with high hopes of getting a lot closer to making a title challenge. Qualifying for the Champions League again via a top 5 finish was regarded as the bare minimum. And there's a permutation here where 6th might even give for you. So, you know, the floor is low. Instead, the club have had 2 head coaches leave as they sit in a lowly 8th spot, 10 points behind 5th place. Really? I've been so traumatized, I haven't looked at the table. We're 10 points behind 5th place. I mean, I guess do we have a game? I need to look at this now because I'm literally feeling sick. Premier League table. Let's have a look. Do this together. Here we are. Arsenal, sickening stuff. Chelsea, 8th. Oh yeah, we have lost 5 games in a row without scoring a single goal. That'll do it. That'll do it. So hold on. Yep, 10 points. Checks out. Not even a game in hand. Oh my god, I feel sick. Oh my god, you suck, Chelsea. Yeah, I'm genuinely being real. I've trauma blocked that out of my brain. That is some stinky stuff. A scenario of Aston Villa coming 5th and winning Europa League does leave, an option for 6th spot. A lot of its and buts, but I think we have chance to be a fine thing with that as well. 5 losses. I'm angry with everyone. You know, Blueco, Clear Lake, Sporting Hierarchy, definitely the players, and a little bit Liam Rosenior. I do feel bad for Liam Rosenior, but especially because these knobbers decide, you know, not to play for him or whatever, player power, whatever. Yeah, it's pretty gross stuff. It's just so annoying, isn't it? Because I've gone from apathetic after these constant losses and no goal scored. And because we've shown a performance in a big game at Wembley, I'm back to angry. I'm happy, but it's sort of brought back in anger. Do you know what I mean? Speaking of anger, a lot of anger has been aimed at those running the club, including the owners and sporting directors. The quality of recruitment for all the money that's been spent has been a factor. Hiring Liam Rosenior, sacked on Wednesday just after 107 days in charge, was a big error of judgment. His biggest alignment with Graham Potter is being sacked very soon after giving long contracts, after deciding he's the guy. But the players should take their share of blame too. How could they go from putting such minimal effort in against Brighton during a 3-0 defeat on Tuesday night, which proved to be Rosenier's last game, to fighting so hard against Leeds 5 days later? It has to raise more questions than answers. Well, look, it's good to play well against Leeds, because they are the old enemy, they're dirty Leeds, but at the same effing and ruddy time, mate, Brighton, I'm just so bored of Brighton bending us over, both financially and sportingly, so beat the muggy little seagulls, do you know what I mean? As The Athletic reported on Rosenier's departure last week, Chelsea's players not only truly lost faith in his trust in his methods, but were also divided among themselves over what was going on. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, at Wembley, they were united as one. You could say it was a case of damned if they do, damned if they don't in terms of showing a response, but better late than never as far as the second half of the season's concerned. Judging by the way the fans greeted their players at the final whistle, after we won, it is clear that beating a traditional rival in Leeds is a good place to start in terms of getting the favour back. Of course, with all the drama of Enzo Fernandez, him scoring and then having his name sung, it could possibly be seen as quite healing. This is me speaking, not Simon. The task, the final will of course be Man City. Yes, if you look at our run to the final, it's been pretty easy, including Leeds, who are 15th in the Premier League, and they're the highest team we've faced so far in our cup run. But then again, Callum McFarlane got a very creditable draw at the Etihad, so there's that as well. Look, it goes into the history and prestige of the FA Cup. and the importance of it. I'll skip a little bit here. Still, by beating Leeds, they have at least lifted the gloom and given everyone a target to aim for. It is a message McFarlane has been giving the players since taking over in midweek. Quote, we spoke in the lead up to the game that we've got a minimum of 5 games left, potentially 6 if we win against Leeds, and it's tough in this moment when you've been on a losing run. But one moment, one result, one performance can change that. And that's what we've been going for in terms of shifting the momentum in the group. What was Liam Rosenior saying to these boys? I did reinforce that at the end of the game. But it goes without saying that we are Chelsea Football Club. We need to win every game, so we'll try and win every game. So that our target from now on is the end of the season. If you win every game until the end of the season, who knows what could happen? Well, you'd win the FA Cup firstly, which would be great. Which means you get Europa League football, which I suppose I would begrudgingly accept. I would genuinely, and I'm not being churlish knobhead here, or maybe I am, but I would rather not be in Europe than be in the Conference League again. I was happy we were in it at the time. Well, I wasn't happy. I was accepting of it at the time because I thought it was a good platform for young players to lift a trophy together, which they did. Tick. I dare I say even helped the Club World Cup run. Tick. Done now, not going back there. We've completed the set. It's anecdotal. They would never returning there. I would literally be like, no European football, please. I think it completely changes the feel within the group. I think that was probably more important, gives us confidence going into the next 5 games. We want to do it for ourselves. We want to do it for the fans, the club, everyone. Time will tell if they succeed, writes Simon Johnson. Tough. Yeah, look, a bit more of a sort of cerebral next day, sobering analysis. I think my cat's knocking on the flap. Oh, ruddy thing. Right, so now let's talk about managers and the future, because we'll basically ride out the rest of the season, see what happens, and hope for the best, and hopefully not have to prepare for the worst. Let's move on. Alrighty, so I mean you can get this news of everywhere. This is exclusive here. On Court Offside, but so I'm going to read you this a little bit and we'll speak a bit more about Iraola in perhaps detail, although maybe not massively just yet. Following the abrupt and messy sacking of Liam Rosenior, who lasted only a mere 106 days, Chelsea's hierarchy is right back to the drawing board. Boy, are we. With the interim boss Callum McFarlane currently holding the fort and remarkably guiding the team to a FA Cup final. I don't know if that's remarkable if you look at our run. I think it's pretty probable, actually, rather than remarkable. The search for a permanent saviour, right, has sparked a managerial tug-of-war behind the scenes. According to sources close to the agents industry informing Court Offside, the Chelsea board is frantically trying to lock down a figure who can finally restore order, bring back the fierce, winning atmosphere at Stamford Bridge, and survive the pressure cooker of West London. I mean, there's a lot there, right? It's not an easy job. But then again, neither is Man United. And they're looking for a gaffer as well. Right now, the man firmly at the top of the wish list. So this is saying Chelsea's wish list is Andoni Iraola. The Spanish tactician has already confirmed he'll be leaving Bournemouth at the end of the season, so you have to buy him out. That's alluring. But then again, so's Oli Glasner, so's Marco Silva. They're all available who are having to be bought out. After a brilliant spell and reports suggesting he's already given the Chelsea project the green light. Yeah, there you go. And Fabrizio Romano has said he wants the Chelsea job. However, stepping into the Chelsea dugout comes with a massive warning label. It's a massive gamble for the 43-year-old, but the allure of the Chelsea job might just be too strong to turn down. It's nice to know and think that we still have an allure, despite the circus that is the sporting and ownership hierarchy at the moment, that we can still draw managers in. Despite that, Fabrizio Romano recently reported that Iraola would be open to a move to Manchester United, something that could ruin Chelsea's transfer plans. Chelsea's plans. I suppose transfer plans would be involved. But this was ages ago. This was a week ago. This article about Andoni Iraola. He's more recently said yes to Chelsea. So Andoni Iraola goes on here to say about Fabregas, it wouldn't be a Chelsea managerial search without a heavy dose of romanticism. Yeah, people have already spoken about Jose Mourinho. The main hurdle, of course, with Cesc Fabregas, who's meant to be viewed as both an emotional appointment and a sharp mind. I mean, he is a hot, young managerial prospect on the market. He is at the moment. The main hurdle, Como's board are currently fighting tooth and nail to block his departure, though Chelsea are keeping the pressure on. I thought the Como CEO or Big Dog was like, yeah, he can go. Maybe that's their public stance, but in the boardroom or whatever, or behind the scenes, they're like, yeah, if you want to go, mate, you can go. Meanwhile, whispers from inside the club's boardrooms suggest voices are actively pushing for the return of absolute club icons like Terry or Lampard. But we know Terry's not going to come in because like a bunch of non-football related stuff. Apparently, there was an Athletic long read about it, including like the monkey NFT, like pump and dump thing and other stuff that they just don't like the optics of some of the stuff John has done. You know, whatever. So actively pushing for Icon's return, hoping that legendary status alone can inject some desperately needed fighting spirit into a fragile dressing room. I would also argue standards. Just having big boys in there, offering, just telling them what it means to play for Chelsea and like, you know, what they're expected of, what's expected of them, should I say, which is like minimum, like, you know, never say die, all this sort of stuff. Just stop behaving like children, go and play football. Rosenior kept talking about, you know, reacting to setbacks. As much as, like, you know, Rosenior got grief, it's true though, isn't it? Like this young team reacts really badly to setbacks, which is something that needs to be improved on. Right, so let's continue. Blues have shortlisted several other names. This is a continuation of Court Offside's article, very exclusive. The Chelsea ownership still have their eyes on a visionary blockbuster appointment. Both Xabi Alonso and Xavi Hernandez. Xavi Hernandez doesn't feel like the salute. Like, how good is Xavi Hernandez at management? For me, Xavi gives Zinedine Zidane to me. And then like goes back, a superstar of his former club, gets the respect, sort of does okay. Of course, Xavi leaves, sort of kind of gets pushed. Or does he jump before he gets pushed or whatever? But Zizou obviously just did the 3-peat of the Champions League and walked off to the sunset and says, right, I'll manage France in 10 years or whatever it is. So yeah, Xabi Alonso, of course, would be certainly a blockbuster appointment, and he would be my personal choice, which I've sort of nailed my colours to the mast on that one. I think he got eaten up at Real Madrid in a way he wouldn't get eaten up at Chelsea. How he would be able... Chelsea would be closer. Real Madrid was too far away from Bayer Leverkusen in terms of how the players behave. And although Chelsea's not going to be Bayer Leverkusen, it's closer than Real Madrid. And I think he'll be able to operate in those. I say that, but the Chelsea landscape's mental as well. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just, you know, hopium here. If bigger names fail to materialise, the Blues have a fascinating backup plan warming up in the wings. Reggie Lebris. Or if you're English, Regis Lebris. Not sure I'm massively into that. The Sunderland miracle worker has done a phenomenal job there up north, and his tactical flexibility makes him a highly intriguing fullback option. I don't know. I mean, is it just because he's the Sunderland manager? But then again, Maresca was the Leicester manager in the Championship. I think because Sunderland didn't even win the Championship, they sort of lost all the games at the end of the season and went up in the playoffs. I don't know. I think it'll be very hard to get excited. Maybe that's unfair, but I don't think, he's like not. Has he ever managed in Europe? As in, I doubt he has. I don't know where he was before Sunderland, but at least, obviously. Maresca knew what it was like to be a coach for a top team rotating in and out of Europe with when they won the treble at Man City. He was an assistant. Even Rosenior was managing, a good Strasbourg campaign while playing in the Conference League in Europe. So he was doing both of that as well. Obviously didn't work out with Rosenior. It was an incorrect decision. But Reggie Lebris, not for me. Nice little rhyme for you there. While McFarlane has temporarily lifted the gloom by securing a trip to Wembley, the long-term fix remains a massive question mark. Whether they go for the tactical brains of Iraola, the nostalgia of Fabregas, I think you could say the nostalgia of Mourinho. I think Fabregas is a forward-thinking, young and exciting coach as well. Or a blockbuster name like Alonso, Chelsea board has to simply get this one right. Well, I don't think anyone is arguing with that factor. They keep getting it wrong. Over and over and over and over. So eventually, they simply have to get it right. And I think the time is probably now, gang. Yeah. Go and get a good manager that suits the players that you have, that makes sense, that, will have control. Drop your ego a little bit and let the manager make decisions and stop being knobheads. Anyway, now's a good time to wrap up. Let me know what you think. Please do leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. I'll be delighted to have them. Thank you for liking and subscribing here on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, it does help me in the deep dark abyss that is the YouTube algorithm. Thank you for following and 5-starring on your podcast apps. I do appreciate it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Many of you have done it already, and I'm very grateful for that. So, yeah, man, take care of yourselves. Look after yourselves. Peace.